Hello, everybody. It is me, Biscuit, and today we're here talking about ReZero starting life in another world, season 2, episode 13. Okay, so we start off from last episode with the witches' tea party with Subaru being surrounded by all the other witches. And just before the episode ended, last episode, we saw Satella come out of nowhere. In my last review, instead of saying Satella, I said Tize or whatever. I have no idea how I went from like, what was it, Typhon? Is it like her saying like Tella? And somehow in my last review, I ended it saying Tize. Like, what the fuck am I even saying? Like, so. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, Witch of Envy comes and then she like tries to like say like her whole love you speech to Subaru again. And then Subaru just denies it, just keeps on denying it. He even denies it so much that he bites off his tongue and falls over like dead in this dream world. And then you see him like go into this like thing where he's like remembering like what happened last episode with him seeing like all the like him hearing like the last like all those other worlds continuing on from his death. And then this whole entire like 9 minute segment of me only watching the first 9 minutes is just pretty much like even like Satella goes from like being like very cryptic and like talking the way she usually does to actually talking in full sentences, which is pretty cool. Like also like how her model is just Amelia's model, like even though that we don't know if whether or not Amelia is the witch, but at the same time they also like I saw some people saying that they might even just be twins. They might just be twins, but one of them was the witch of envy and the other one isn't, or maybe like they are the same, but maybe they aren't the same. And then we see like her like bring him back from like him because he was like denying her the whole entire time and shoving her away. And then like we saw for some reason like I forgot, the Witch of Wrath, the blonde haired chick, was on the Satella's side for some reason. And like isn't like didn't all the witches die from Satella, unless that's like unless that's like false information that just got spread around. But then like Minerva was on Satella's side, and then like I think uh so most of them were neutral, but it seemed like what was it? Typhon and the Witch of Sloth were on Subaru's side about him like denying her and being worried about his emotions or whatever. And like he ended up coming to the realization that Satella was trying to like tell Subaru to like love himself because like he hasn't been loving himself, and like even he says that he wants to like only like use himself in order to have a better future for everyone else. But then people are saying how basically like in the second trial of him like seeing all those other futures without him, they're saying that what would those futures be like if he was there, and that if he didn't die or something like that. And then they're like asking him to like, I assume, accept it or something like that, or for him to like value himself while also valuing others, which I guess is something. I guess like I don't know if like I still don't even know if he's even in the second trial still. Like if he like accepts himself and like accepts to love himself, does that mean that he's completed the second trial and then all he needs to do is the final trial, or does he still need to like go through all of those and stuff like that? I don't even know if this like because he ended up doing the trial, but then ended up. I don't even know if he even failed it or not, and then because he ended up seeing the Witch of Les Carmela and stuff like that. And then I like it how what was it? Ekidono like what was it? Ah, damn it! I already forgot what which she was. Like it's very confusing. Like remembering all this knowledge and reviews, I don't even have anything written down. I'm just doing things from my head. But then I like it how she like has that stance that she had last episode about wanting to use Subaru and have Subaru use her, but then she just gets completely neutral when and is just letting all the other witches do what they want to do. I guess it's because she's just experiencing these new things which she likes to do. So then I guess we have this Subaru bringing Brock. Like I said, he like bit off his tongue and stuff like that. But then Witch Minerva ended up healing him, and then because he ended up having a realization that he doesn't actually want to die and he doesn't actually want to use himself, which seems self-explanatory. But he did it anyways because in order to like have like the brighter future. But then they're saying he can have a future while also staying alive and not hurting himself. And like the Satella like wants him to like be alive in these futures and like not to like use himself. I guess maybe that's why that goes into like that optimal route that they were saying. How it would be very like the reason why Rema sacrifices because they wanted Subaru to live but not everyone else to live, and like they want Subaru to I guess accept it or whatever. But yeah, the first 9 minutes was definitely interesting, and definitely seeing Satella, especially like cry and stuff like that, and seeing her talk more and seeing her around. Her outfit is also pretty interesting, and seeing like that shark dark shadow still there. Also seeing all seeing all the witches more and seeing the personalities and stuff like that is pretty interesting. So yeah, I'll be back in a second through the middle parts of the episode, but the beginning of this pretty good. I'm back after watching the middle of this episode. So we ended up coming back to it, and we ended up seeing Ekidona like looking at all of the information that she's gathered by watching all this happen. Like one thing that I forgot to mention was like Subaru like bawling down and crying when Satella was like talking to him when everyone else was talking to him because he didn't want to like like deal with everything. So when he doesn't want to deal with anything, you know that he usually just cries or like acts insane and stuff like that. Even though that he can really handle it, I think even like what was it? Either it's Ekidona's fluids or it might have been like his witch factor that's able to like make him remain calm or something like that. So he could have remained calm, but he's like so heightened that he like exudes himself. Like one part in the military, they talked about how dense Subaru was, and I was like, was he really that dense? I guess he is a little bit dense, but then like there he does so much thinking, and sometimes he is smart and stuff like that. So I guess he's more like more action heavy, like smart than like information heavy. But then he does use information. I guess like there are some people that watch this, they're just like, if Subaru used his brain in this type of matter, if he actually had thoughts, certain thoughts, then he'd be able to make things easier. But because of like the way that he is, he thinks differently than how you want him to think, which seems normal because that's usually how it works in real life, which makes it more human than that you would want it to be. So then Ekidona just says, like, was talking about how all the witches' stances were how some were like with Subaru, some were with Subaru, and then some were neutral. Like they even mentioned how like she even asked the Witch of Lust about why she like used her powers on Subaru, and I guess the Witch of Lust said that she like turned into Rem and did all that because of Ekidona told her to, but maybe Ekidona didn't tell her to, but she did it anyways, in order because like apparently she helped Subaru when he was wailing and stuff like that. Apparently, I guess like that trial was too much for him, or like whatever that was too much for him, so then she had to like interfere to like help him. And then after that, like Subaru ends up accepting what Satella said about loving himself more. And then he ends up like thanking all of them, like he did like Ekidona that one time. Just said thank you, bowing to them. And he also said that he doesn't understand them because they're monsters, and that they also don't understand him. And even though that they say that they understand him, they'll never understand him. Like how he'll never understand them, but he understands them enough now with the information that he's gathered to like them a little bit more. And that he also said that he would never love any of them. I like how Satella is just there, just having that, just not even like caring about it, just kneeling on the ground, still just like crying from the last time that she talked to Subaru. That Subaru goes up to Satella saying how he also thanks her for like doing it, and that he like will use it like his he'll try to like use his power less, because like if him dying less means that he loves himself more, and then that he'll try doing that, and he says doing that is a lot easier than dying. And then he ends up like taking her hand and then helping her, and then everything fades away, all the other witches fade away, and the world far fades away as Satella says a speech to him. And then she said that she needs Subaru to kill her. Now it's the same thing with Subaru and Beatrice, because Beatrice wants to be killed, but I guess like if Subaru loved her more, then she wouldn't have to die. So I hope that at the ending of the series he doesn't actually have to like kill her, but maybe like love her or something like that. It's really weird how that was gonna work. He also like denied Ekidona again, because Ekidona reached out her hand again to like tell Subaru that like he could have the optimal path if he accepted like her like like having a contract with her. But then Subaru denies it again, saying how if he joined up with her, he'd probably die a lot more and not love himself as much as like Satella thinks. Then he ends up denying her again, but says that even without the contract, that she's helped him enough. And then she smiles at that and then says that she actually really likes Subaru, and that's why she wanted to make the contract. She also like helps Subaru by telling her how to like become friends with like Garfield a little bit, saying how Garfield, the only reason why Garfield is the way that he is because he hates the outside world. So if Subaru wants to help him break out of his shell, then that he'll need to like get him over that and tells him like to do that. So I guess she gave him a hint there, but of course with his denseness, he didn't know what she was saying. So I guess maybe that's why. Because like didn't like I think like one of the ways for him to like save the mansion is to have like Frederica and Garfield like fight together possibly, because I know that at the ending of the opening song there's a part where you see both of them fighting off against like fighting together a little bit. So maybe that might actually become a thing soon. And then after that, we end up him waking up after the trial, and he wakes up outside of the trial room with Parsh and Otto. And apparently, Parsh ran in there, even though that she wasn't a qualified soul, brought him out while being damaged and being hurt, and then took him out and licked him awake. And then he ended up noticing this. And we find out that apparently Parsh likes Subaru. Like we don't know if it's like a like or if it's a like. So we have we have some animal love going on there. And then Subaru ends up not understanding it. But then Otto ends up speaking ground dragon and made like a really like a quacking noise to it or something. And then like he's like, oh, she said that she doesn't want you to know that she likes him. And then Subaru ends up finding it out anyways. And then we end up Subaru ends up telling Otto that he's his friend in the past life. We saw that he said that they were friends, but now he actually said it. And he ended up walking towards the right before the middle part of the episode ended at the 17-minute mark. He ends up walking towards the trial saying, oh, did I pass it? And then he ends up walking in the door, and then he ends up like having the urge to puke, and he ends up going away from the door. So I don't know if maybe he lost his power. Like maybe this is Ekidona's doing, where like he's not allowed to do the trial anymore. So then he got denied. So maybe only Amelia is allowed to do it anymore. Maybe it's because maybe she's angry or something. Maybe he needs to wait to do it. So I'm really wondering if maybe he just got denied access to it. So maybe like this is the last time that he dies. Maybe because if he dies again, I guess like he's just not able to do trials anymore. Because I really wanted him to complete all the trials, but I guess maybe Amelia would have to do it. Maybe like some other way to like defeat the sanctuary. But lots of questions. I really enjoyed this middle part. It was really interesting, and I can't wait to see what happens at the end of this episode. Really good. Right, so I just watched the ending of this episode, and I guess one thing that I can say is that me talking about this portion of the episode definitely isn't gonna like do it justice. Also, like we're not gonna like see the other half of like this season until January, but at least all we have to do is 3 months. Like to be honest, when I heard that it was gonna be next year, I actually thought that it was gonna be like when I heard like I heard that it was gonna be around Christmas of next year, so I was like, oh, it's gonna be like November, December, around this time of next year. But no, only 3 months, and then we see like probably like another 12 to 13 episodes to like end it off. It's like, dude, yes, 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 yes. I'm okay with waiting 3 months. Like if it's like a year or two, like you're just like, oh, I have to wait that long. Just 3 months? That's crazy, dude. Just 3 months. So we have Subaru going back to Rosewald after dealing with after like talking to Otto and them and stuff like that. I like it how like he called him a friend, but at the ending of this episode we see like Otto show up again at the time of Subaru's need when he's like all delirious for the conversation. I really like that effect that was going on with him like being there, being all delirious, being all crazy, him running all the way through the forest and then like falling over and just saying, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So many moments of like him repeating like something while going crazy, but then Otto shows up and I don't know if he like heard the conversation that he had with Rosewald or not, or if he just heard this, but he ends up going in. Look at how it says, Subaru, you need to take a deep breath. And then he's like, okay, I don't know what's happening, but okay. And then Otto just punches him right in the face and says, hey, don't like do what you're doing. And like, I guess like he needs I guess like I guess he's had this before where he needs to like trust other people's capabilities. I guess like he learned how to like use other people's capabilities during like the whale subjugation, but he doesn't know how to like trust others because before like people have been so like untrustworthy to him for like the longest time, and like it still happens that like he needs to like find a balance of like trust and untrust at the same time. So then right after like him leaving Parsionato, he ended up going to Rosewald again. I like it how when he first met up with Rosewald was wearing his makeup, and like and like at how he like made his makeup go away by like just using magic by putting his hand over his face. It's like someone like I just like that effect of like people putting on masks like that. Like I especially like that when that happened in like the Bleach anime. Whenever he went hollow, he just put his hand over his face and he just transformed. So then he like switches over. I like it how like he was like prepared, especially when he first saw Subaru when this conversation happened. Like he was prepared to like that for this to be like the grand like conversation with Subaru. Then once he ended up seeing Subaru like not having a resolve, I like how he like really wants Subaru to like be a certain way, and he wants Subaru to have like main resolve, that main like goal that he wants. Like even last time he said that Subaru needs a goal, like he has a goal. And like how even Rosewell said that he trusts Ram and Subaru the most out of everyone. I was like, dude, like this whole conversation could be analyzed. Like there could be like an analyzation video on this where he like says that he trusts them both like immediately, like especially like during the conversation, she kneeled in front of him and said, "Why do you hate me so much?" And he's like, "What? I don't hate you. I like you." I almost thought that he was gonna say that he loves you, but no, he said something along the lines of him trusting him and Ram the most out of everyone. He like trusts Subaru's abilities and stuff like that. I don't know where Ram came in because he like used Ram so much in that one timeline. I mean, it's because he knew that that timeline was false, so then he just did whatever he wanted to. But in like a timeline where things were all right, he probably wouldn't have done that. I don't know why he likes Ram so much. Though. I know that they have like some sort of relationship, especially with like him like using his magic to like heal her from her like pain of like losing her horn and stuff like that. But I don't know like what other connection there is. Maybe there's just more things to them than like we know of so far. Like I said, Rosewald really wants him to have like a super resolve, and like he wants to turn him into something. I think that when Subaru does finally get his resolve or whatever, because we know that he isn't gonna like choose one thing, like especially how he said how like he wants to do everything for Amelia, but if he wants to do everything for Amelia, he needs to do it by trampling over her will, because her will come through his will or something like that, which could be the case. And like he like yeah, I like how he like once he sees that Subaru like isn't like complete yet, he like grabs his book and just hugs his book like Beatrice does, and he's like, "Well, I'll just wait here." Just hugs his, "I'll just wait here until you end up getting the resolve that you need." And that I think that when Subaru does get his resolve, it's probably going to be something that not even like he thinks of. Like he's probably going to be surprised by it instead of like being content with it, because you know that if Subaru does what Rosewald wants, then he'd probably be like he like it, but at the same time he like won't like like understand it or something like that. But I guess but when he does choose like this resolve, because we do know that he's probably is gonna end up saving the mansion and saving the sanctuary at the same time. Like he even like I like it how when he was on the ground, he even said that he lost his qualification to the trial. I like it how like his eyes wide open, especially when he mentioned so like the thing at the beginning of the conversation where his eyes opened at what he said, like when Subaru said we went through many interrogations together, and his like eyes open, be like, oh, he's like not even being roundabout about this conversation. I like it how he like says that he lost qualification. He's like, well, it doesn't matter. You can get it right back. I need you to get it back. Like he says, I just need you to just be trampled upon until you like ask her for it again because she's greedy. She'll want you to do it. So I guess maybe that's why she like made him lose the qualification in order for him to like crawl right back to her, which he might do, but he might trick her if he asks for the qualification back. I think that might happen because if he does won't want to like complete, like I don't even know if he even completed the second trial or not. I don't know if he failed it or needed it, but he might like like ask for it again, but then like lie to her, which would be kind of funny to see a moment like that. If that does happen, I'm like already having my juices throwing. But for this to be the last episode until 3 months from now, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good last episode with all the information we've given and everything. Like we haven't seen Amelia since I think last episode, right? So we can't wait to see what happens with. I can't wait to see what happens with that. And then he even like so he ends up leaving no delirious. He has that conversation with Otto, like I mentioned before, and then the episode ends with them having that confrontation. So I guess we'll see what happens with him actually like trusting people and actually using people and actually like doing things. And I guess like like unless he gets qualifications again, I'm really wondering like he's probably gonna end up dying more, right? Because like unless he doesn't die more, because I'm really wondering how those 13 episodes are going to go. I don't know. Maybe it might just be 12 or even like 10, but I'm really wondering how the second part of the season is even going to go. But really enjoyed this episode. Really liked it. I can't wait until the next core of this to see what happens, to see how things go, and especially like we're probably going to end up seeing Enkidono again. And who knows what the new opening and endings are going to be like? Because opening and ending for this episode for this season was pretty good. They might even use the same ones actually, because like they're still fresh in our minds and they still have qualifications. Especially with Subaru like saying that he will save Emilia once more. I think we saw that 3 times this season of him like saying that he'll save even Satella and stuff like that. So yeah, if you enjoyed my thoughts and my opinions, absolutely leave a like. If you didn't enjoy this, what's everything you dislike? And yeah, I'll see you guys 3 months from now when the, the episode 14 comes out. And yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, or evening. And bye. See you later.